Well, last night doesn't feel real. I woke up this morning and I'm like, wow, Randy Arozarena he's a Seattle Mariner. And that's something that is crazy. It's fun. It's just exciting. There's someone new, polarizing in a good way, right? Someone that's exciting, brings a lot of passion. Randy Arozarena, very welcome to the Seattle Mariners Baseball Club in 2024. They need the help. It's currently 9:17. There's more news, though. John Morosi, the yapper, take it with a grain of salt. The Mariners are remaining active in trade talks today, even after the Randy Arozarena deal. They would like to add a leverage reliever and at least one more bat. Stay tuned. For me,
I really like
Jazz Chisholm and Tanner Scott. You double dip in both scenarios there. If Randy's the bigger bat compared to Jazz, I would say that's Randy being the big one and then Jazz being the supplementary bat. But it's still like, I said it on stream. We went live last night after the Arozarena trade dropped and we went crazy. It was a lot of fun hanging out with like 600 of you guys the entire night. It was awesome.
Chat, the Seattle Mariners just acquired Randy Arozarena, an outfielder from the Tampa Bay Rays. Joe and I are here to talk about that. Talking about Randy Arozarena, Joe, how do you feel about this move?
I mean, it's a big bat that has been heating up. He started off the year pretty cold, admittedly, but over the last, I'd say like month and a half, I feel like he's been very, very good. Yes.
Aidan Smith and Brody Hopkins.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay. Interesting. Not what I expected, honestly. I said that if it's Jazz, it's a 1A, 1B situation with Arozarena being the 1A versus, and then Jazz being the 1B versus like a bigger deal. Say this is a leverage reliever and one more bat of Michael Kopech as the leverage reliever and Luis Robert Jr., then Robert Jr. is the 1 and Arozarena is the 2. If this is Kopech and Paul DeYoung, an infielder guy that we might use as like a utility player while JP's out, and then when he's back, whatever, then Arozarena's the 1. But I've got a slight update, courtesy of Ryan Divish, about the Arozarena trade. We know that it was Brody Hopkins and Aidan Smith. The player to be named later hasn't been announced yet, but Divish is hearing that player to be named later in the Randy Arozarena trade isn't going to be based on his performance or the team's performance. Rays are finalizing who they want. It's not expected to be a prospect ranking as high as Aidan Smith or Brody Hopkins, but still a legit prospect. Smith ranks at 12 right now, Hopkins at 22. I said that Smith was my 10th in my current updates. We haven't made the video yet for, and then Hopkins was, I think, 17 for me. So basically like 2 top 15 guys. Player to be named later, if he's in the top 30, wouldn't be surprised. I could see it young Swanky at the top of the response here. Walter Ford or Guff, maybe a bat like Rodden. Brock Rodden recently entered the Mariners top 30. Could be a pick for them, for the Rays, a guy that his best tool is his hit tool. It's a guy that can play around the infield that could be beneficial to the Rays in a year-ish time, maybe. He's already in Arkansas. Brock Rodden's a guy that was tearing it up in Modesto, a recent draft pick as well, just playing good baseball, and his hit tool is showing through. If it's Brock Rodden, I'm not going to be upset because it is what it is, right? It's what you have to give up to get a guy for 2.5 years of control for Randy Arozarena, who could be a quality top 2, top 3 offensive performer for you. But that's probably the realm. Like Ford is in like the 20 to 25 range. Guff probably closer to like 25 to 30. Rodden fringe 30 for a lot of teams. They could play high on a guy like Victor Labrada, maybe, who's been tearing it up. It was tearing it up in Everett, got the call to Arkansas. So expect some more news out of that. But the guy who was primarily did a lot of the reporting for Seattle, Adam Jude, tweeted about 2 hours, maybe an hour before the Arozarena trade went down, said Mariners are aggressive in talks, looking for outfielders, and then it got broke that Randy Arozarena was traded. Jude today said the Mariners aren't done yet. Of course, at least they're not done trying. And based around the picture here that Jude uses as part of the article piece, he's very much so, I don't want to say like theorizing or prophesizing a Vladimir Guerrero trade, but that's what the heart of this article is about. To be clear, if the Mariners are able to execute another trade, it would likely be for a peripheral piece, a relief pitcher, a backup catcher, or a veteran outfielder perhaps. That's just him speculating. And this is even more speculation here as well. But the Mariners might be better positioned than any other team to pull off a deal for the game's most coveted slugger, Toronto first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Obviously, John Heyman, we spoke about it on the podcast, said that the Mariners were aggressive in talks with the Blue Jays. If the Blue Jays stand pat, it is what it is. But there's a good chance that if there's a team that's out there that can go do it, the Mariners are a great one in that, because in this trade for Randy Arozarena, they gave up nobody in their top 10. And you've got ammo at the top of the prospect rankings. One in Colt Emerson, not saying that I want him to be traded, but Keith Law just ranked him a top 5 prospect in all of baseball. Colt Emerson currently sits, I think, in the 40 range for MLB Pipeline. When that re-ranks come out, he should be the Mariners' #1 prospect. He should be, I mean, Cole Young's like 22 right now. Colt Emerson could be in the top 15 for MLB Pipeline very soundly and safely. The Mariners have a bevy of top prospects that the Blue Jays could be interested in, but if it's not Vladimir Guerrero Jr., it could be a shortstop. It could be Bo Bichette, down here on the injured list right now, but back soon enough. There's a lot of different ways that this could go, but just stay tuned, because the Mariners, this just has to be the tip of the iceberg, right? This first move, great. Getting Randy, very, very happy about it. In June and July, his OPS plus and WRC plus, just his season in general, has turned around tremendously. Yeah, he's hitting 211 on the year, but in June and July, he's got a WRC plus of 163 from June and a 159 from July. He started heating up a little bit in May towards the tail end, brought his season out of the gutter, essentially, but it's mainly been he's hot for 2 months. The Mariners needed a bat that's been hot to help maybe stoke the fire of this offense that has basically been burnt out. And whatever this next move is, regardless, I'm satisfied with the start of this trade deadline. I'm hoping my ideal situation here, honestly, would be getting a leverage reliever from the Marlins and getting Jazz Chisholm. I think getting either Tanner Scott or Andrew Nardi and Jazz Chisholm to supplement spots in this roster that have holes. Like, Jazz can then go play center for you until Julio's back, and then move to second base, and then Polanco becomes a more utility role at, say he's DHing, or he can go play third base if you need him to, or you need someone to give a day off in the outfield. Jazz can go in the outfield, and then Polanco back to second base. It gives you options, quality major league options, to where you're not having to employ, not to discredit Jason Vossler, Cade Marlowe, Jonathan Clase, Mitch Haniger, whether or not they want to continue to roster him in some way. He's probably gone if another big trade happens. But stay tuned. More stuff's coming. Happy we got Randy. Appreciate you guys all hanging out with us last night. Again, just a small update from this morning. Appreciate you guys being a part of the Mariner Mojo community. And maybe you'll see us later again live tonight if another trade happens. But go Mariners.